Hulahans, happy hump day. I'm here with Johnny Brath. This is
Aloha.
your Wednesday edition of the Maui Hot List Hulahan, where we talk about all things Maui and related to real estate, some fun behind the scenes stories. But really, we want to just give you what's happening on the ground, the true transparency, the coconut wireless, the things that we're seeing with our clients, conversations we're having with different AOAO managers and different people on the ground. So that's what we seek to do here. Just give you the real bare bones of what's going on and not all the fluff. You guys already know Maui's beautiful. You know the sunsets are beautiful. You know the Honu are swimming in the water. You know all of those things. We don't need to provide you that. Right, Johnny?
Yes, that's correct, Danny.
Yeah, that's why they come to Maui anyways. They know the reasons they love it.
That's it.
Now we got to see if
So,
it makes sense for them. So, some
yeah,
updates.
yeah, you got some good updates here on what's going on with Minatoya and the county
Yes.
council. Fill us
So,
in.
testimony continued on Monday,
Okay.
and they went all day again, all kinds of testimony. And then they recessed to the next night, which actually I think was Tuesday, at 5 o'clock, 5 to 8 p.m. They were going to do more testimony because they keep having people sign up. So there's more testimony, and then people didn't show, so they got to give them another chance. I guess it's a pretty laborious process to make sure they try to hear as many of the voices as they can hear. So that said, once they finish the testimony, then next week they're targeting to meet with the mayor and his team and I guess ask questions. The chair of the housing committee says he is our guide, he is our leader, so we ask questions of him. And then once that happens, then they actually start the deliberations and votes. So maybe 2 weeks out for that starting. There's a lot of potentially used in next steps. So non-committal to the steps and I guess a lot of moving parts in the process.
Sounds just like how Maui County works, Danny. At glacial, whole new
Ugh.
speed. Yes,
Slower than snails, or we always said slower than molasses in February. It
it's our
doesn't
lifestyle.
move. Yeah.
It permeates into everything, government,
It
all of
does.
it.
I mean, that was one of the most interesting things getting into real estate. Yeah, we kind of joked early on when I got into real estate is like we bring a Midwest hustle with an aloha spirit, uh, but it's like you can only move so fast because even a lot of the agents in some of our deals, right? They don't take contracts seriously. They're kind of maybe hitting the deadlines, maybe 2 weeks later. They'll send you the paperwork that you need, and that's just kind of normalized in a lot of things, which is I mean, it makes sense in the lifestyle and the business side of things and contracts and legality. It doesn't really make sense, and yet it still happens.
So I try to set up some showings here at a residential complex that's in North Kihei for one of our fire survivor clients.
Yes.
First guy just couldn't meet me on the particular times that my client was available to check the place out.
Yep.
So we're going to push to potentially Sunday. And then the
Yep.
next one that we're going to see in the same complex took 2 days to get back to me and to say that, well, they're moving out. So yeah, I can't really. And so I ask myself, so we're condo market's probably the most distressed segment that's in real estate right now.
Yes.
And I still can't show these things to sell them. So it's very fascinating to me. So what would happen if your seller was aware of these things?
That is a good question. And we actually see
And
it quite a lot. This is not like a once-off thing.
well,
It's
hang a
pretty
lockbox, man. Come on, let's just go old school on this. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it's good
dude,
to
I,
see
I
it.
was I was blown away, right? Because quite frankly, I cut my teeth in Arizona real estate. And
Yeah.
that's what it was like you told them when you were gone, they'd make the place look nice. You'd use the lockbox, you'd go in. Only the super, super high end, $2 million above Paradise Valley, you would meet with an agent occasionally. But here on
It's
Maui, let's tell people how it's done, right? So I have to schedule with the selling agent. So now, not only do I have to take the owner's time into account, but now we have to clue in with the selling agent as well.
we
So
got like
all
four
these things,
parties.
there it is. And then sometimes you have these selling agents, these sellers agents that literally think that they're going to close my client in the 15-minute tour that we're looking at the place. Like, yeah, that's what we give you is 15 minutes to make your choice here on Maui. And I get so flabbergasted sometimes. But what you can be assured with me is, well, if you're going to show up, I'm going to put you to show and I'm going to ask you some hard questions here. So that's how we put that to work. So the story continues. Maybe we'll pick it up on Sunday when I can go take a look at a couple places with the client here. We'll
Well, so
see.
speaking of that, that particular property, I know we've been kind of digging into the condo docs and trying to find out some potential information on litigation, which is
Yep.
limiting the financing options. So I reached out to one of my contacts who may be able to get that information, and he was telling me that uh, he was trying to write an offer on another property, another typical residential Keonikai Villages. I mean, it's kind of your basic entry level condo type
Yeah,
property on Maui, and
absolutely.
they had to cancel
Great
the deal because
location.
of financing problems. They can't get the deal done. I mean, it's as vanilla as they come. It appears, right, on the outside, but
Yep.
apparently no financing. So the list is stacking up, Johnny. We have Keonikai Villages, we have Kamalani, Napili Villas, Napili Hau Villages. We
Villages,
have
Maui Terraces.
Maui Terraces. These are all very, very much residential, kind of entry level, middle entry
Sub
level
300, $400,000 condos that would
yeah,
really potentially make sense as first home places for a young person or a couple starting out.
for anyone. Yeah.
And I can get you financed, guys, and it's only going to cost you 3 points for closing costs just to pay to get the loan done, and then there'll be
Mm.
other closing costs on top of that, and you'll probably have to put 30, 35, 40% down. None
And
of the cool
maybe eight
government
or nine
loans.
percent, and maybe 8 or 9% on your loan.
None of the good government loans exist here, bro. FHA is another Hawaiian unicorn. It does not exist on Maui. Can't get FHA done here just about anyway. I'm going to say literally it's in the single digits percentiles that FHA loans are utilized here. It breaks my heart. And
So
that's what's not being discussed in testimony, quite frankly. And
yes.
I know I should probably get up there and say something, but I'm not because I am afraid of what happens when I open my mouth. And it's a small island, and I love a lot of people here, and I have to live here. So I just eat it sometimes and I bring it up here. And
We
this
put
is
it
where
out
I
here. So
vent. This is where I vent. So,
so
yeah.
fascinating. It's another part of the equation that
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this bill and things that are being deliberated, and some of it might make sense and some of it doesn't. And this is one of the big questions is for the properties that are already available to potential locals and potential buyers, it's a really hard time to get clients into it. I mean, I know on one of our Maui Lani terraces, just a
Harbor Lights. We
studio.
forgot Harbor Lights,
Harbor
dude.
Lights is another one.
Cheapest
Boom.
condo on Maui.
Sub
There are so
200,000.
so much litigation in there for man, some rough stuff, dude. I mean,
Yes.
ay, ay, ay,
So
ay.
beyond the financing, we've also been talking about just before we jumped on here, issues with permitting, with planning, with zoning stuff. So I was hearing some of the testimony. There was one really fascinating testimony, a guy who had purchased the property, I believe it was in Kihei, and then tried to build some ADUs because that was something that was passed a while back to where if it was over 7,500 square feet, you could build two ADUs. And then he had all the plans, all the everything ready to go. They approved the initial permit, and then when he went back to get the final permit, they said, no, you can no longer do this. So canceled all his plans, couldn't build the ADUs, sold the property, put it into vacation rental condos. Now they're looking to take that away as well because it's an apartment zone property that was originally noted as for hotel use. So that's an interesting one. But then meanwhile, he has a Kula property that's 7,500 square feet or more. Uh, and he was told that he could build some ADUs on it. And after the fires happened, he really tried to go to work and build some housing for people that needed a shelter that he could house. And county has said no and not yet to all of his permit requests for 2 years now. So that's kind of one testimony I heard. But Johnny, you heard from some of your friends who are trying to rebuild in Lahaina, and what are you hearing?
Oh, dude, I mean, it's just so much misinformation. They were told that they were building too large of a home, and then
Yeah.
directly across the street for them, they permitted a 12 bedroom, going to be a super rental complex. I guarantee it because, but this is how Maui County works. The answer at the county will always depend on who is actually answering the question. It could be different if you call and talk to somebody else. And I have a
Mm,
feeling that that's how the improving or the approval process works as well. Is like if I get this guy, maybe I've got a better shot than I've got that guy. And it's just so confounding. I mean, we're just so much like, we're still similar politics to California. We're on the
mm,
coast here. We're a people that really, really revere the ocean and the land, which I love as well. But we're humans that have to live here. Let's be
yeah.
real about this stuff here, man. And so this is what you deal with, much like you do in California, to where everything moves at glacial speed, but then you constantly hear about, well, my kids are having to move away and it's so expensive and it's this and it's that. And I'm like, okay, I've heard them poo-pooing on this thoughts about supply and demand, that it really isn't supply and demand. And then the
Yeah.
county makes these statements that, well, if we are actually going to take the time to build all the housing that we actually need, it would take how many years did they tell you?
73.
So that's why all these condos make sense, because that would fill the 73 years that they've been behind, is what they
Yeah.
basically admitted to, in my opinion. Right.
Mm.
So that's good stuff. It's
Glacial
just
speeds,
all
but
governmental.
this is really what's happening on the ground behind the scenes. So some things are moving forward, some things are completely stalled out, and the
Yes.
reasoning is not always clear and doesn't always make sense. And even you think you're doing the right thing and trying to build something for either your own family or someone else's family has potential rentals, you're still getting the Stonewall. Or, as we've mentioned before, the Hawaiian Homelands, told 6 months originally on a deal that I'm involved with right now. Now, the recent update was kind of met with some, why are you bothering us kind of thing. Like, this could take over a year. And it was just a simple like, hey, do we have an update? What's going on? So that's kind of what you're met with. The first time that we submitted the paperwork, they were like, we're sick. We'll deal with it in 3 weeks when we get back to the office. So apparently one person on the job in that situation. Other situations, it's multiple people, but they have different opinions, maybe different politics as well. So they see things a little bit differently, what they want to approve, not approve, maybe some money involved behind the scenes under the table. We have seen some of those stories recently in Hawaii where there's bribery and deals accepted from various officials. So,
Let's talk about this. So, King Kalakaua, our merry monarch, he is the guy that loved to party. That's why we've got the big hula halau that always goes on every year in Hilo that's so famous. But one of his big contributions to the local native Hawaiian population was he created Department of Hawaiian Homes Land. And the
mm,
intention is to make sure that native Hawaiian people were able to have a home. And so how it works is, Molokai is a good example. You could have a 5-acre homestead there and you would get a 100-year lease and it would be for $1 a year. And then you would build the home on there of your choice or farm, etc. And we have those here on Maui. There's one in Kula. I was recently there. It's awesome. The views are amazing. The lots are bigger, half acre, acre size. Also have one right in Lahaina as well. As you're driving north in Lahaina, before you come to the Civic Center and the post office, more importantly, that entire neighborhood there between Wahikuli and the Civic Center is all Hawaiian Homes land. Well, here's the thing. Danny just mentioned how they're moving at glacial speed. In order to qualify for Hawaiian Homes Land, you have to be 50% Hawaiian blood quantum or more. I tell people that I am half and half. The reality is, I am 3/8 Hawaiian and eighth Japanese, and then my dad was your average white guy that was of German and Swedish descent. So I do not qualify. My mother, who turned 80 years old this year, maybe doesn't need the Hawaiian Homes Land because she's done well for herself, has been on that list for 80 years, and she will die without ever being given Hawaiian Homes Land that she could have given to me or my sister, because you could bequeath it again as long as you have this 25% blood quantum. So, in my fantasy land and how I feel about how governments operate, it sure seems like maybe they're just waiting for us to bleed out the bloodline as we intermingle with other populations.
mm,
Could be. I don't know.
interesting.
But that's the scoopy scoop.
Yeah, but I mean, so it's hard to sell. If you want to sell, you're looking like a 1.5 year process to actually list the property, wait for a potential buyer, and then go through the process of transferring
How does
ownership.
this buyer hang out with interest rates fluctuating the way that they do? How do you decide what you know what I mean? What's my payment going to be on this thing
What
here?
does the seller do? How do you plan for life like that? It's just, it's difficult. So these are some of the nuances in our market and really what we seek to share and approach with you here. There's a lot of cool other channels that you can find beautiful turtles and sharks and whales and all kinds of cool stuff that Maui offers. And we want to bring you this kind of perspective and approach. So if you like it, share it, comment, recommend it to your friends. If you find information helpful, you have questions, you can meet with us. You can jump on our calendars. There's links in the description. If you're on island, reach out and grab a coffee, or you want to see some places, let us know. So,
And that
Jonny,
happened yesterday there, Danny.
it sure did.
I got to meet a client. So this was interesting because, in our CRM, if you would, I was like, man, how did we get attached to this particular person? It was a direct website sign up.
Mm,
And so I've been just emailing for literally 2 years, right? And so
yep.
yesterday was the first meeting, and she shared with me. She actually saw the TV show that I was on there, the American
Wow.
Dream Home episode. So that was the
You're
first initial, and
famous,
then
Jonny.
well, dude, and then she mentioned, oh, and I know you have this partner, right? Because she watches the show as well. So shout out to us. So stoked that I can meet you. This is the second person that we've now interacted with because of the show. So I'm super grateful that, people feel some that they could trust us maybe. And then they're
Yep.
starting to reach out here. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. What was cool is I met us at Lahaina Shores.
Yep.
So it has been a long time since I've been in Lahaina Shores, as you can
Mm,
imagine. They are getting that place ready to reopen end of this month. July 1st is the drop dead deadline. So
mm,
had the power out in a vast majority of the complex. They have poured new concrete onto their or asphalt on their parking lot. But that was an interesting thing that I discovered.
mm,
So what they're going to open for is owners usage. But in terms of getting back to rentability, that is still an uncertainty on the horizon. And a big reason for that is people may not realize this, but Lahaina Shores had access to, and I don't know if it's ownership or usage of the underground parking lot that is right next door in the completely burned down 505 shopping area. And so that's a lot of parking spots to give up. They've looked at trying to secure other parking around the around their location there, but they're sensitive to what's happened with the burning of the town, and they don't know if they could even secure something and get people to agree to let them use for parking. So until that is situated, they don't really know when it's going to be vacation rented. And so I was explaining to my client, I said, it is a very, very good opportunity if you are a long-term thinker. And here's why.
yep.
Lahaina Shores will be the only oceanfront hotel zone condo in all of Lahaina. I don't know if Lahaina Roads comes back because it is zoned apartment, right? It is right in Lahaina, and that seems to be very, very important to the powers that be. The only
Mm,
other hotel zone was Ainanalu, which sits between Dickinson and Prison Street on the north side of Waine'e, and that is not oceanfront. So that's all that's going to be in Lahaina. So there's huge opportunity, but you just have to wait a long time and pay maintenance fees and float along until all of this comes to be and the town is rebuilt. I've shared this opinion with everybody or other people before. I firmly believe that all of Maui tourism begins to tick up the minute that we just literally break ground in the actual town of Lahaina and start to rebuild it. I believe from that point forward, the curiosity factor kicks in, and the lovers of Lahaina will just not help but come back and just see what else is being new, what else is happening, what else is going on. So that's where we'll keep you updated. But that's my firm belief there. Long term for Lahaina Shores. But if you need the rentability and the income is the big hot button, I don't recommend it.
there it is.
Only
From
cash sales going on there too now. So,
from the front
yep.
lines, what you are hearing. And I think you also dug into some information on Royal Kahana. Is there anything you wanted to share there?
Yeah, dude. So I was just there today. I was taking a look at a great unit. Met with Larry, who is the on-site AOAO manager. In Hawaiian, we say vala'au. Larry likes to talk, man. He's super
Voila.
transparent. I like
Ow.
him. Yeah. So
You're a
you're a
good
talker
listener. You're a
like
good
me.
listener, Johnny. So people like to talk.
Well, so asked him some questions about structural integrity. That was important to my client. He did make mention that the Florida debacle that happened with the condo there that collapsed reverberated through condos throughout the nation, right? So they all were doing, the smart ones were doing engineering reports, making sure of their structural integrity. So he made mention that they took advantage of COVID, actually add some post tension lines through that. That's where you have these strong cords that go through concrete, makes them super strong, so they don't break and crack. So that was completed. There's been a special assessment that was supposed to go until August 27. I know that August 2027. I know that for one bedrooms it equaled about $608. It was supposed to go towards replacing all of the railings on the lanais. They discovered that that is not necessary, that they could make repairs that are if they were needed. So that could be coming down. And this kind of segues into, so right now the fees are 1,200 bucks there proper for a one bedroom, and then you add this additional 600. Do want to make the statement that does include all the utilities, including electricity, basic cable, and internet there, because it really truly is a condo tel. Um, Found out something interesting. We'll discover it as we go through the hot list today, but I'll make mention Kahana Reef, which is just north of of Royal Kahana, literally just I mean just feet down the road. They had maintenance fees that were $2,000 for their one bedrooms, and those will go down to 1,200 in October because they secured a better
Whoa.
insurance policy, dude.
Whoa,
So
Johnny, I think we said it
one's
before.
going
The
down
fees never go down, or very rarely. So here's
rarely.
one instance where it's going down.
And one that I agree with, right? And it's just
Yes.
because something that was necessary is less costly than it was after the fires.
Beautiful.
So, dude, that's what we need to hear. Some good
So
news that's out there, man.
sometimes they're these managers and AOA people, they are doing their best to find solutions, and sometimes they win.
Dude, this guy was so proud of that place, man, and the good care that he takes in it. I mean, I was just like, dude, I love that. You know what I mean? That is powerful. Sometimes we as realtors get this weird negative pushback from AOAOs. And I
Yeah.
don't understand that, because you are a service, you are literally there for your apartment owners. You are a
Yeah.
servant to them. So you should be thinking long term and big term. How
Yeah.
can I make this place more liquid so that when one of my people want to get out, they can do so? But I'll tell you guys, we are not held. It is weird here on Maui. There is a lot of negative feelings towards realtors. I'm sure that many of us realtors give good cause for that, but it
Yes.
is just bizarre. Like, I've been accused at certain luau's and stuff that I'm the one that's causing the taxes to go up, and that I'm selling off the INA. And again, I don't do anything. I am a servant to my buyer or seller, and I walk beside you as an advocate and guide you as you make all the decisions for yourself. You decide
Yes.
what you're going to price this at. You're going to decide if we're going to reduce the price. You decide if you're going to accept this offer. You decide who is the offer that you're going to accept. Now, you can't discriminate in any way. I don't make these decisions. Other
Yep.
owners that own their own piece of INA do. And then another
Yes.
buyer comes in and negotiates with that person. That's how this works. It is an innocuous job, much like Modern Family. The doofus that's on there is a realtor. That's who
Hmm.
I am. I'm like a postal person, or just, I can't think of a good common gig, but I'm harmless basically, unless I'm on Maui.
Unless you're surfing, then get out your way.
Well, well, board meetings are a whole different story, Danny.
Get
They
out
could
the
be
way.
spirited. They
Get
could be
out the way.
spirited.
So all kinds of updates. There's a
Yep.
lot of things going on, and we are having conversations every day as we working with different clients, as we're studying different options that might make sense or might not make sense. And that's, for a lot of you watching, that's probably some of the conversations you're having is, does this whole thing make sense to me? And then does a particular opportunity make sense for me, for you? And
Yeah,
that's really what we're here for, is to help discover, dig into it, provide the information, and ultimately, if it's for you, awesome. And if it's not, all good. So
there it is. There it
speaking of
is.
that, we've
Yes.
had some clients recently that decided no to Maui, and they said yes to Portugal. Portugal. Now we hear Spain, we hear Portugal, we hear Costa Rica, we hear Mexico, sometimes Bahamas. Uh, and for some people, some of those places make sense. So a little teaser of something to come is maybe a partnership with some of our peeps in Portugal to share what that opportunity could look like for some of you. So down the pipeline at some point, some cool stuff coming. And then one other thing coming on Friday is we're going to do something cool for our 100th subscriber. So squeeze this in here in the
Hey,
middle and invite you to come to the Aloha Friday episode. We're going to give something fun away to one of you listeners. So
and
be there
shout
for
out to
that.
the person, whoever the person that said, "Man, mahalo, let's get them to 1,000 subscribers." We love you.
Yes. Much appreciated. And I
Totally.
think that's good for today. Our average minutes of talking is increasing. There's a lot to share and a lot to talk about.
There
You
is.
feel free to give us any feedback along the way. We appreciate it. Drop it in the comments, send us a note privately, whatever you want. If you like it, you don't like
Watch it
it.
at 1.5 speed, 1.5 speed or
Yeah,
two. That's to
one and
get
a half
through
to
it.
2x speed. It Not so bad. So let's
There
go
you
ahead and
go.
jump in. The hot list
Let's do
portion.
it.
This is where we actually walk you through some of the properties, the active, the pending, the sold, the change in status, give you a
Yep.
little insight into what is actually happening. So here we go, Johnny.
This is Lanio Poco, gang. I mean, so Peter Martin, a much there's heavy opinions about him as a developer here on Maui. When he developed this, his thoughts were that local people may want to live somewhere to have a view, had no idea that it would turn into what it has turned into. And what has it turned into, Danny? Well, these are farms. This is ag
Farms.
land. This is ag land that's supposed to be used for farms. But ag land allows you to build a main house of any size and then allows you to build some accessory buildings as well. And
Yeah.
so that's why. And then you have various stages of building that happen in Laniopoko, where, for example, up until 2014, you could build pool cabanas, which were additional structures around the pool. And you could have a half bath. So what do we do with a half bath in Laniopoko? Well, we create an outdoor shower.
Like
So now you've
this.
got a full bath, baby. Boom. That is Laniopoko in spades right there. So what happened to these farms? Well, they're on 5.6 acres with a 3197 square foot home that somebody felt they could build for or sell for 7,900, 7.9 million, and now is down to 5.9 million. Now, Danny, oh, this is not the one that's on 37 acres, the Aloha House, but yeah, Laiapoka's vibe. It's very cool. We put
I mean, look at
clients
that.
into very, very cool spaces there. The views are amazing. It can get windy. That was my granny's comment when she heard of Laniopoko being developed. She lived in Oluwalu Valley, which is also windy, but Halimahina is the valley that flows in here, and she said, big wind. That was Granny.
There you have it. So
That's a
bit of
proper
a
compound.
farm essence here going on. I'm not sure exactly what they're growing there, but
Yep.
they're growing something.
Used to have a farm plan. Used to be required to have a farm plan for these things. I've heard that that's not so much a requirement. The classic thing that a lot of people do will to take care of the ag portion is they'll just start planting coconut trees. And to stress, it doesn't need to be a producing farm. You just need to produce agriculture on there. It could just be for your own use, but that's what the requirement is.
Mangoes,
So yeah, there you go.
avocados, coconuts, whatever you want.
$6 million farms on Maui. We got them here. We got a coffee plantation. You let us know. We'll get you into one.
A lot of options. Paki Maui.
Paki Maui, apartment zoned. You got raving fans in here. It's an interesting complex because it is all built around that particular interior space there. The one bedrooms are a little bit on the funky side for floor plans. It's that particular wall thing right there in the very kitchen. Maybe you could show that
Yeah.
one with the picture hanging on it. Now this one they did really nicely done, but boy, how the mighty have fallen, man. So 445, Square footage is a little tight, 506 square feet. Of course, the trophy units are all going to be the ones that face ocean front, and those will be in the million plus range. Paki Maui is zoned apartment. So this is why the price reductions and the sitting on the market.
So one little strategy they're trying to do here, Johnny, and I think they're a bit aspirational in their price still for a
I do
1-1
too.
non-hotel zoned, but they are now offering seller financing. So seller will
Those
carry
guys.
note in a private money mortgage for 20% down on a 2-year term, 4.75% interest only.
It's a lot
So
more common than people know. This is called a PMM deal. So it's a purchase money mortgage. Seller does seller financing. It's typically going to be just like we saw there, short term, 2 to 5 years. It's always going to be interest only to produce to kind of coax you to go out and get your own financing done. So,
and one kind of caveat from a buyer perspective,
yep,
potentially interested in something like this, the sellers kind of sometimes use this as a way to justify an inflated price.
there you have it.
So
Now,
this might
yep,
be a little bit above where it should probably sell, but because they're offering you the financing terms, they're not really going to negotiate or give you much of a better deal. Uh, so take it for what it is.
yep. And if Minatoya wasn't an issue, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, I think.
Most
So,
likely not. So there was a lot of testimony over the last couple of weeks about Paki Maui. Used to be very residential, very friendly, very neighborly, and that has changed, and people are not super happy about it.
righty. Got a little South Key action, South Key action here, Danny. They started very aspirationally. I get that it's somewhat of a newer build house, 2004 build, and then a remodel in 2024. It's definitely large, 3.175. That's right at the border of Kihei Wailea there on Kilohana, but priced very similarly to stuff that's in Wailea proper. So there's the dividing line, guys. That divides Kihei from Wailea. Now, Kihei is the district, so it does encompass Wailea, but for our purposes, that's the scoop there. So the first, so Maui Meadows sits above the highway there, above the 31. That's the one for Rebels there. Maui Meadows is its own district, much like Kihei or Lahaina, et cetera, which makes it very unique. And then you kind of have what I call, and I don't mean to be mean in this, but the starter home area of Wailea, which is all the homes there just to the south of the one. Yep. So Kialoa, what's the other one? Help me out, Danny. You're the South Shore guy.
Not super familiar in that neighborhood.
Okay. Well, there's two others that I just can't think right off the top of
Yep.
my head. Yep. And so kind of price similar to those. Yeah, once you start getting into the Gulf area of Wailea, you can expect to pay a whole lot more. And then as we head
Yes.
towards McKenna, forget about it.
Goes up,
Billionaires
up, 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 up,
row.
up.
It sure does. Great space though, man. Nice upgrades. So yeah, got a view. It's a nice
Cool.
neighborhood in there. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the homes get nicer the closer we get to Wailea. That's just, but starting out at 3.5 seems like maybe a flip or something like that. Maybe, start on
Five,
aspirational.
5 months on market. Not moving so far.
There it is. Go Pico Street in Wailuku. Man, look at that, Danny.
Beautiful green.
4 bedroom, 2 bath, 1620 square feet. Is it Happy Valley? I think it is.
Looks like it.
But man, 799. This is the behavior right here, right? Started out fairly aspirationally. Lister is seller, so Greg is selling this himself. So of course he started out aspirationally at just shy of a million, and now he's built it to 799.
Down
Do
200,000.
me a
So seven
do,
ninety nine for a house on Maui.
do me a favor. Tap that H for me there, Danny. So he rehabbed this thing in 2025. Let's see if he picked it up. No, all the way back in '08. So he's
Oh
held
wait,
it for a while. Held it
250,
for a while. Yeah.
995, 950, 925. He is trying to find that
He
price.
he is
When
peeling.
Went
Price
pending at
and feel.
845,
Yeah,
canceled,
something happened.
now down
How long was that? Man, so that was
46,000.
financing right there, in my opinion, Danny. That was almost a month worth of escrow before it fell apart, huh? Oh no, only at
Yep.
less than a week. Sorry, no, less than a week it went active after pending.
Yeah.
Yep,
J1.
there it is. So that was J1, not a financing. J1 is inspection period, guys. Sorry, that's Maui Realtor
Inspection
talk.
jargon.
Yep.
We'll keep cruising along. This one again.
Yep. Here we go. 99 days in, peeled it back a buck and a half. This sits directly north of the Honokawai Beach Park. So that's what you're looking at there. It's a lovely park. It's a lovely beach area. I mean, parks on Maui now seem to attract some homeless sometimes, so they run into that. But got badass coffee right across the street from that. There's a good little Mexican food truck there as well. So yeah, Holly Kai. I don't know, Danny, what's your thoughts on it? Good square footage, seeing some two bedrooms that come up. I don't see this going hotel.
No, I don't think so. This feels like something
So
that they'll move in the
go on
residential.
apartment.
So the price, I think you'll see that continue to go down.
I think so too.
For it to make sense, I think you got to be. I mean, similar to like the Kihei Bay Surf, Kihei Bay Vista kind of vibe in Kihei. I think once you get into the
Four and
fours,
change.
maybe upper threes, it's probably more of where it should be.
Go.
We'll see.
So
150,000 so
Minatoya,
far.
Minatoya condo right there. Old Sand Hills in Wailuku. So looks like there's been some updates done in this fairly new built house though, 2004. We've talked about this location because it does provide some opportunities sometimes for CPR because there would be three packs. Or is this the one that's in town, Danny? Old Sand Hills. Hit the map for me.
Double check where this one is.
It's where our friends A and K live. Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just completely speaking out my mouth, so forget what I just said.
There's so many sand hills.
That's there really is, and they're called Old Sand Hills too. So yeah, no, this is a nice neighborhood actually, man. They're doing some new stuff in there, and yeah, cool little space. So
So do you see how
forget
they
what.
access this one? This one's kind of interesting. So
Oh, flag lot.
it's like stuck in the middle and then they get a little access driveway.
So no Ohanas or anything. That's what's great about that location, though, is you can get
Oh,
some
looks
three
like it
packs. Oh no, there it is, but attached to Ohana. So
attached.
interesting. Not, I mean, interesting that it's a newer build in there because it's an older neighborhood. So I don't know if they tear down or what they did there.
I wonder if, yeah, if it was a CPR off one of the other ones. Hard to say. But
No,
there you
there's
go.
all zeros there. So yeah. So no,
True.
that's the whole thing. All righty. I like the neighborhood. You get some views there. Oh, Camp Sands, but it's in the four buildings, so not impressive.
Four building off to
These
the side on
these were
Keonikai
selling million
Road.
million four million four for four building for peak COVID, million six plus for some of the other more desired buildings. 925, I don't think is going to get it done.
Well, a million one they started at, so down 175,000 in 69 days. They're showing some signs. Just
Do you see a
still low.
consistent pattern with how realtors just always start out aspirationally here? I'm gonna
Everything's
get you top
high,
dollar. We're
high,
gonna go for
high, high,
this.
high, high,
Yep.
high, high, lower,
Oh,
lower.
I didn't tell you that.
Especially in this market. The market's always changing. This
Right.
particular situation time is there's a lot more supply than there is demand.
So there's maybe been a few that in the recent past sold for 780 at Iliahi, but I know for a fact that there's also been several that have sold for less, but this is why we price. So we'll
Start
price it
at
and feel it.
780.
Price it and feel it.
Bringing it down. So 51,000 over 85 days. Seeing a bit of
Now, again, the seller gets to make that choice there, so not poo-pooing on the realtor as much, but that's always the discussion. Here's the three different ways to sell the house. I explained those to you based on your wants and needs. What do you want to do?
so a little bit of everything in Kehalani. These particular ones, townhome style, no
Yep.
garage is kind of the big
Nope.
differentiator between some of the other Kamani and Milo Court. So no
It's cute
garage,
though.
but it is
Super
nice.
cute.
Yeah,
Oh, the whole
get a little
thing.
corner
Whole
there with
whole
a
community.
little yard space. Kahoma Village, Johnny.
This one here. Well, one went in escrow for 2.5 milli, Danny, and had a pool. So, well, we'll start this one here. So, $1,000 a foot. Big drawback of Kahoma Village in the past was directly across the street from Baby Beach. This place flipped over hard during COVID, man. So many people sheltered in place by buying in Kahoma. There you have it, guys. Paid 954. Click the 386,980, Danny, because that was a rack rate sale there, not workforce housing pricing. So yeah, this is the developer. So this was not a sale to workforce housing. Workforce housing probably would have paid 7, 6, and 7 and change. But there it is, guys. So
So
this is
what we
why
always say,
workforce housing drives me nuts.
and why we always say to buy new construction. So paid
Uh-huh.
950 for it, and now a couple years later, thinking they can
Yeah.
get 2.5. We'll see about that.
If they make $1 million off of this in 4 years, well played. 5 years, right?
Well played. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of excitement around this community when it first opened. I don't think anybody imagined that it would become $2.5 million.
I like it. Don't get me wrong. It is tight in there, brother.
Yep. Zero
Tight
lot
to
lines.
drive. Yeah, tight to drive around in there. It's my only comment.
They stuffed a bunch of places in there.
Sure did. All righty. So this is original Kehalani. So just south of the freeway. So no views or anything. Built in 2004. This one's going to move, Danny.
I think so.
Eric's crushing it, dude.
Listing, 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 listing.
Sure has. And he knows how to price them too, man. If
He's
we're
doing
not
well.
seeing this one go pending in 7 to 10 days, I will eat a paper towel on air.
He
Delete,
said it.
delete, delete,
He
delete.
said it. I mean, this is your
Oh
classic,
no, this
classic Maui house.
yeah, no, this one is not south of the highway, Danny. This one's north, bro. So, huh? Oh, Olena. My bad. I don't know if this is D.R. Horton who built it or what.
Classic Maui
Yeah,
house.
no,
Ready for someone under $1 million.
let's go move. I mean, because you compare this. So here's the rub with like Kehalani, Iliahi, right? You add the maintenance fee, and
Yeah,
then they're going, bro, I might as well buy the house because there's a small maintenance fee on here for common areas, but it's not,
yeah.
800,000 bucks.
And then you get a garage and a yard.
That's what happens, man. That's what's the danger with condos nowadays. So here we go,
Wailea
Danny.
Point.
And and I love that we're going to be able to show the difference of like location and then also, I mean, I guess to some certain extent, size. So pointing where the building is, we'll get some views. It's a quick walk to the ocean, but you are not direct ocean front, right? So looking at
No,
about
sir.
$2,000 a foot, only $6,000 for the maintenance fee. A lot of these come with a garage condo as well. That is a separate unit there. So this one they brought up an interesting point in the realtor remarks, Danny.
Yeah.
And this is where in the past the AOAO, because this is zoned hotel. So this is an AOAO making the choices for their community. And in the past, you
Mhm.
could vacation rent there for a 30-day stay or longer. And now they've changed that to where it's a 1 year stay.
Mm. So big change
So
at Wailea
basically
Point.
not vacation rentable in any shape or form or short-term rental.
1 year leases.
There it is. And somebody will rent that because we have some wealthy people that want to rent first. So it could be the strat.
Sure do. It's a beautiful community, low density,
Let Yep.
lots of
Let's see the next
amenities.
one. So
Moving along.
here you go,
Yay.
Mac Daddy. Now we're direct ocean front. I get it. It's an additional 1,300 square feet larger as well, but we just saw a 300% price jump.
Massive.
And literally location, location, location within condo complexes, the range of values will vary widely. And we just brought up Kamole Sands, right? Because the four buildings outside of the sacred U, you are kind of an outlier and your pricing is affected.
Look at those views of Molokini, though.
Molokini and then Kaolave just behind.
You're not going to get many better views than that anywhere on Maui.
Living on a cruise ship, bro.
That is it. And one of the most beautiful views.
Yep,
Wailea
and only
Point,
8,000 bucks of fees. Only 8,000 for fees.
South
Okay,
Point.
Danny, let's go out with somewhat aspirational because I threw some flooring down there.
Got some fresh floors.
Yep,
A lot
got a
of vacant
little
properties today. Everything is vacant.
trip out, huh?
People moving on from their properties. Opening up long-term rentals for people. How's it for
This.
locals? Here we go. So 545, 2 beds, 1.5 baths, 750 square
I,
feet. Classic.
I don't see it. I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
Yeah,
So
needs to be sub fours, but that's open to negotiation, right? It's just tough right out the gates for them to take a dinger.
should be
Here we
same with
go.
same with this one.
Yeah, 499 we saw one go for. So it just psychologically can be difficult.
Look at a lot of these feel there's a few of these that have gone onto the market. They feel like they were used as vacation rentals.
Yeah.
And this one, Vacation Maui picture here, they are a property
Yep.
management company. So I wonder if people are starting to offload these,
Yeah,
knowing that
because
maybe they won't be able to
it's
rent them
apartment
anymore.
zone. It's apartment zone, brother. That's exactly what's happening. And these would actually make nice apartments, man.
Very nice.
Walk to the beach, walk right down
Location,
The Poa
grounds, everything
Beach.
about it. So
Yeah, good stuff.
not
But
at that price though.
730, no. Righty, Peahi Farms. Peahi is the name of the surf spot, also known as Jaws. This was a new development that was out there. We're looking at 13.24 acres within that arrangement there for 2.2 million. And I want to say
Mm,
this one was listed a few times before, and they took it off and dusted it off a bit and threw it back out there.
there you go. Lot number 9, Pahi
That's
Farms. Beautiful spot.
it. Agricultural land, so another
Here's the
beautiful
same one.
farm. Lot 13.
Lot 13 at the Piahi Farm. So are they building up there yet? I haven't been
15
over there in a
acres.
while.
I haven't either. I'm not sure.
All right. Another one of the classic
So,
condos. Very similar vibe
yep,
to South Point, Keonikai, Kihei Villages. Kind
similar
of
look.
similar look, similar space. This one is just a 1 bath, so a little bit smaller
Yep,
square footage.
yep.
Sub
Upstairs.
500. So they're coming down on it.
But
We
man,
will
that
see.
one 3 bedroom that sold for four and change or under escrow is hurting things there too.
It's changing the game over there.
Sure are. Ulua
Canceled
Road,
one.
Capella, Molokai canceled. This is a high end area of Molokai, just out of town, Cavella. This is
It's a
where all the
nice look,
doctors and stuff will build. Yeah.
nice looking house.
Ulua. Ulua is a trophy fish for shoreline fishermen here in Maui. Look at that, Danny.
Some of the
Papakea.
penders.
Dude, 990. Started out super aspirationally in 1,050,000. L Building has already done the plumbing stuff. And this one's direct ocean front, huh?
Oceanfront Resort, but has mixed zoning,
Right. But
apartment
this
and
particular
hotel.
unit, was this a
Yeah,
particular? This one is L Building's right there. There you go, corner unit.
there.
Hence the price. But yes, Papakea is one of the four, technically five condos that were on a list that Tasha Kama, one of the council members, had sent to the Maui Land Commission, did some investigations, and there was some hotel zoning in Papakea. So there was a request to peel it off the Minatoya.
There you have it.
Has not been decided on, but
So
in
that
the
one's pended.
works.
This one in
So, dude,
Kihei.
this one moved, man. She seemed to have priced it somewhat right from the get.
Yeah,
Seemed like a lot to me for what it was, but it's a location play, I'm sure, and a view play, right? So second homeowner, maybe, not sure. But yeah, County kind neighborhood there.
3-2. Classic Kahana Ridge.
Rah, showing
Oh,
up, man. 46 days later, didn't drop the price. It's a cool looking modern style home there, Kahana Ridge Drive, man.
super cool. Someone
Good.
loved that. Someone fell in love with the
Greg's
look and feel of that.
Greg is stoked. Oh,
All
Molokai
right.
once again with a view across the street from the ocean, maybe. I'm not sure. No, 344 days in, we finally got an offer.
Small little house. 800 square feet.
It
Peely
looks bigger,
Surf.
huh?
Someone got it,
Ah,
Johnny.
Bugger went.
This was our
Well,
deal of the week 2 weeks
that's the one.
ago. We really
This
pushed
guy
this
went.
one. Someone found it.
Yep.
They're
I
gonna love it.
really, I wanted to put somebody in this one, man. I believed in it. That's a great play right there. Long term, short term, all the things.
Sure
People are
is.
flocking to Napili Bay.
Wouldn't be a hot list
Bro,
without a whaler fractional.
here we go. Classic Maui style. I think I want to list it for 130. Let's do 150 instead. But put it in escrow, so hats off.
We get 2 weeks at
One
the end of
day
summer
in. Yeah, but it's the
over
view right
Labor
there,
Day.
right? So here you go. Great square footage for a 1 bedroom, 2 bath at close to 1,000 feet. You get all of that lanai space, and you are definitely looking out. My kid was packing tubes right in front of there last night, dude, on the
Look at
soft top.
that view.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Oh, Lahaina
Lahaina
Shores,
Shores.
425 cashy cash. So it is the even number. So we're looking at the beautiful mountains. Yeah,
Little remodel. So this kind of setting the price at Lahaina Shores, 425.
that's it. Okay, sold for
Sold for
205
$205
million
million
dollars.
dollars. Biggest sale in the history of Maui right here. Leasehold
Bro,
condo.
1B, bringing it down to 205 in Maui Sands for a 2 bedroom, bro.
Yeah, 205,000 is most likely what this is.
Okay. Nappy
Nappy
Shores, dude.
Shores,
Oh my goodness, it continues to come down. C building, 541, 500. Sold ours for 605. D
605.
building. Yeah, D building. So
Right
hold on
across the
to it.
way.
It's gonna come back here, man. That's Zone Hotel. It's well
Yeah.
loved. It's just the fees that are crushing everybody right now as they
Fees in the
redo their
market.
plumbing.
This one finally
Key
sold.
Hay, FHA for the win.
Whoa.
And I can't pay
Five.
full price. Will you give me 500 off? Okay.
No, 500 extra, bro. They went 500 above.
Oh, that's right. They bid the on the bidding
Rounded it
war.
up.
Hopefully, it's
Rounded up.
slapped in some kind of a letter there. Oh, is that all Ohukai stuff up there?
Yeah.
The used car
Cute little
lots, Mexican food, all kinds of
cute
stuff
little
going up in
neighborhood.
there. Oh, here we go. Wailea Golf Vistas, 3.2. So this is what I'm meaning compared to that other one. That's definitely a more prestigious neighborhood here, similar square footage. Nothing against Kilahana,
And a
but
prestigious looking house too. Look at this. Beautiful. Top of the line. Everything.
yep.
Nice woodwork
We
too.
Kawika Street.
Kawiki.
That's it. Yeah.
That one
So
went. We thought that one would
975.
go, and it did.
There you go. So listed at 5.9, in escrow 517. Easy peasy. Give you full price. Price it right. Expect the price.
And it's moving. No more
Oh,
elevated prices. Can't demand, the make me move, throw your price out there. It just doesn't work anymore. Shared with
yep.
you a lot of information today, a
We
lot
were
of
voila
insight.
out. Voila out.
We have so much to say these days. So take a
Yep.
listen through it, put it on 1.5, 2 times. Just listen to the first part, the second part, throw it on when you're in the car driving, whatever you'd like to do. It's there. It's now. And we'll see you on Friday. Aloha Friday. We got the special surprise for you, 100th subscriber. We're going to give something away. We don't know yet what yet, but
Gratitude.
it will be fun. So
Gratitude.
thanks for
Yep.
hanging out with us. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for your emails, your comments. Thanks for reaching out to us
Meeting
when
with
you're on the
me.
island.
A
There you
hui
go.
ho.
Until next time.
That's